Craig Price is a convicted serial killer who gained notoriety for his heinous crimes committed in Warwick, Rhode Island during the late 1980s. His story is one of shocking brutality, early criminal behavior, and a flawed legal system that initially allowed him to avoid the appropriate consequences for his actions. Here's a detailed account of Craig Price's life and crimes, early life and troubling behavior. Craig Price was born on August 11, 1973, in Warwick, Rhode Island. He grew up in Buttonwoods, a neighborhood in Warwick, from an early age. Price displayed troubling behavior that hinted at his later criminal tendencies. He was known to be violent, exhibiting aggressive tendencies towards animals and other children. As Price entered his teenage years, his behavior escalated, and he became involved in criminal activities. He had numerous run-ins with the law, including arrests for breaking and entering, assault, and theft. Despite these red flags, Price's violent tendencies were not adequately addressed, and he continued to live within the community. Rampage of murders in the late 1980s. Price committed a series of brutal murders that shocked the community of Warwick. His first known victim was Rebecca Spencer, a 27-year-old woman whom he stabbed to death in her home on July 27, 1987. This murder remained unsolved for several years. Less than a year later, on July 27, 1988, Price committed his most notorious crimes, targeting a family in Warwick. He broke into the home of Joan Heaton, a 39-year-old mother, and brutally murdered her and her two daughters, Jennifer, 10 years old, and Melissa, 8 years old. The crime scene was horrific, with the victims suffering from multiple stab wounds. The brutality and apparent randomness of these crimes sent shockwaves through the community. Fear and panic gripped the residents of Warwick as they wondered who could commit such heinous acts. Capture and legal proceedings. It wasn't until September 1, 1989, that Craig Price was finally apprehended. He was caught breaking into another home in Warwick. The police, unaware of Price's connection to the earlier murders, initially charged him with the break-in and attempted murder of another woman while in custody. Price confessed to the murders of Rebecca Spencer, Joan Heaton, and her two daughters. His detailed admissions left no doubt that he was the perpetrator of these horrific crimes. Price was charged and tried as a juvenile due to his age at the time of the murders. He was found guilty of the murders and was sentenced to an indefinite term in the Rhode Island training school. This decision sparked outrage, as many believed Price's punishment was inadequate given the severity of his crimes. Continued incarceration and legal controversy. Price's sentencing as a juvenile was a contentious issue, and there were ongoing legal battles over the years to have him transferred to adult prison, where he would face a longer and more appropriate sentence. However, these efforts faced numerous legal obstacles and were met with resistance over the years. Price faced additional legal issues while incarcerated, including convictions for assault and other misconduct. His behavior behind bars only added to the public's perception that he was a dangerous individual. Current status. As of my last knowledge update in September 2021, Craig Price remains incarcerated, but the legal battles surrounding his sentencing have continued for decades. It is important to note that developments may have occurred since that time. The Craig Price case highlights the complexities and challenges of the legal system, especially when dealing with violent juvenile offenders and seeking appropriate justice for their actions.